Rod joins the pod to tell his Chiefs Kingdom and Red Kingdom media stories. What do we make of the Bengals' disappointments? And now the primetime matchup in Atlanta. Find out on the home of the Chiefs. Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to this week 3 edition of the Home of the Chiefs podcast, where the Chiefs are our home. We're your hosts, Clinton and Shannon, joined with you. And today we have a very, very special guest as we continue to make our way through the Red Kingdom media family, if you will. We have our senior writer, Rodney Pegues Jr., or the second, as we have him on our graphic for the video audience here. He's here today to kind of talk about some of his Chief stories and how he got connected to us, and we'll get into that here shortly. But Rod, how are you feeling today, and what do you want the people to know on this Monday as we're recording, Mr. Patrick Mahomes' birthday?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling good. The sweet music of hearing more of Jamar Chase crying is just, it sounds like Luther Vandross in my ears. It's beautiful, just beautiful. And, it's on to Atlanta. There's things that, we got coaching points to get through and whatnot, but it's onward and forward.
So let's go ahead and talk to the man of the hour, Rod, as we call him around here, Rodney, also known as well. But, we've been connected for a little while now. How about you explain to the people how you kind of got connected to Red Kingdom Media and what you are contributing to the team this season, and how the people can find and consume what you are giving to them?
So it started off in a Chiefs fan group on Facebook, and really putting my intake and thoughts on the game as, just giving my points and everything, sharing my fandom with other Chiefs fans on Facebook and everything. And me and Dale really connected well on a lot of just real deep football talk, real technique and technical terms that, it's not just a ordinary fandom. It's more of, this is experience that I have to go through, so I understand what these players go through. I understand the whole coaching points and practices and everything that they are experiencing. I've experienced it as well, so it was a bit of an insight that me and Dale was talking about it, and he DM'd me on Twitter, and asked me if I wanted to be a part of the team and write. And so, that would be very fun, to actually, do something that I really like to, expand on, a skill that I really love in writing, but also, learning to put things in a, more professional perspective instead of just going off, off of emotions. Now I can really go into details on everything. So it was a great opportunity. I appreciate Dale and Lonnie and you, Clinton, as well, to give me this opportunity, and to really give me the platform to put in my own very own article, pregame article of, Rod's Pick 6, 6 keys to victory for the Chiefs, coming out the day before every single game. And it's very exciting. I love watching the all 22s. I love looking at certain techniques. I love listening, listen to other analysts. I'm a very avid caller on 18 Sports Radio, talking with Saran Petro and Curtis Seabolt, talking with them, and also Jason Anderson on the Zone, talking with them guys quite a bit often, and getting more in-depth insight and perspective of the game is really, helped me, to put things in perspective in the journalistic, standpoint. but also, spreading my knowledge of the game, learning more of football and whatnot. So it's more than just talking about my experiences, like giving me the opportunity to, expand knowledge to the average fan base, the average fans of Chiefs Kingdom.
Well, we're all happy that you're here and really excited about what you have in store this season in terms of your Pick Six articles and the other projects that you may be involved in, or various other articles that you may contribute or provide your expertise and your senior leadership to. So we're really happy to have you.
Yes.
And also, we're going to transition here into some Chiefs Kingdom questions. And spoiler, if you were around and a fan of ours in February of 2024, we had our final drive series where we talked to various people in a kind of a precursor to what this show has become right now, and hopefully will continue to be in the future. But we talked to various people about their Chiefs fandom and what they thought about the big game for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy hanging out with us right now was already on that episode. So some of this, if you've already seen that episode, may be redundant. However, I think like everything, fandoms change. And so a lot of these questions of who are your favorite Chiefs and past and future stuff may have changed because your perception has changed, because now we have that sweet taste of a back-to-back, and now we're trying to suckle the sweet nectar of a three-peat. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Shout out to anybody who's been a fan of ours for that long and was a part of that series. And if you'd like to be on a show similar to that, aka the show we're doing right now, hit up the links below, so that way you can go ahead and appear on screen with us in place of Rodney. So, so let's go ahead and get started. How long have you been a Chiefs fan?
Yeah, I've been a Chiefs fan my whole life, but surprisingly, the Chiefs wasn't my first team. I was a very big fan of Walter Payton and the Chicago Bears. So I was a big fan of Brian Urlacher and Mike Ditka. No, I'm not that old. It's just it's the fact that I love the Bears growing up, hearing about the 84 Bears. So I love looking at Chicago, but looking at Brian Urlacher, I couldn't help but fall in love with watching the Baltimore Ravens with Ed Reed and Red Lewis, and watching those guys. I'm like, it was a great experience, but what really drove me into Chiefs Kingdom is watching Derek Thomas, especially what he did in the community, opening up a school and everything. And I was a part of that. I was around when he opened up the Derek Thomas School, and that right there really, I really saw firsthand what NFL players does for the community, and it really makes a very big impact. So actually watching Derek Thomas and watching him play and watching Elway get upset was so beautiful. I remember the game. Denver was in Arrowhead when they was on I believe it was on the 2-yard line, and the referee threw a flag and penalized the fans for being too loud. And I was living like, is that even part of the rules? Like, how can you penalize the fans for being loud? We paid our tickets. That's not fair. But that right there drew me in on, being a hardcore Chiefs fan at that moment.
Yeah, it's no doubt that the Chiefs are like passion personified, and us in our fandom, we run hard and we go loud and we say and do some crazy things, and it's all love, and we get through it. We are crazy like that, but it's a good crazy. It's not the destructive crazy. So
well, some people.
Chaotic good.
Some people can get destructive, but most of us are pretty civil. Like
most of those people wear a wolf costume, I think is what you're referring to.
Casey will always be terrorizing.
Oh yeah, and then also him. I meant
the other guy.
Yeah.
The unmentionable guy.
About him. Anyway, Rod, tell us what it's like to be an out of market Chiefs fan and what that experience is like.
Whoo-wee. It is a load of experience, especially, moving from Kansas City here in North Carolina. It's a mixture of fans here in North Carolina. Of course, you have some Panthers fans, but you have a lot of Dallas fans and Commander fans and Eagles fans. It's like they everywhere. It's funny to me seeing that interdivision rivalry, but it was so sweet, so sweet watching the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl and just sit there with my Chief jersey on, just looking around like, hi, the Kingdom got cookies if y'all want, championship cookies. They're listening to Dallas fans. So, this is our year. No, it's not. And it was very lovely playing against the Eagles in the Super Bowl because it was funny just to watch more people just drip into sorrow. But, of course, that dreaded Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, they gave it to me. But, at least I can sit back and, tell the Dallas fans, at least we made it. So that's always my pushback is like, hey, we lost the Super Bowl, but at least we made it. And so living here with, being a fan here, you start to see more and more Chiefs fans and more things. But so you see the Chiefs Kingdom, outside of Kansas City really turn into that same Patriots dynasty. It is lovely. The hate is beautiful. I could go anywhere with my Chiefs hat on and say, "Oh, y'all lucky because y'all got Patrick Mahomes." No, just thank the Buffalo Bills. Especially with my job and driving over the road and actually had to deliver in Buffalo. And just so happened it was early in the morning. I didn't realize it that I had my Chiefs shirt on. Oh, the sorrow on those people's faces when they was unloading this truck. Never knew why until I looked down and said, "Oh, well, I appreciate y'all kindness. Appreciate y'all, contributing to our success. We couldn't do it without you, Send my best wishes." So, but other than that, it have its ups and downs, but it's like you have to have thick skin out here because, they coming for us. A lot of these fans out here really do be coming for us.
Yeah, we have a lot to gloat about, no doubt. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers fans in your neck of the woods, going through something right now.
Yeah,
having some buyer's remorse, and I think the buyer is the owner, so they're hoping it to be a seller's remorse, actually. But yeah, you start spreading the Chiefs Kingdom out there and let them know there's another team they can root for. That won't hurt their feelings, and it is all about actually winning and producing on the field.
True.
So, Rod, what are your game day routines like when you are preparing for a Chiefs game before and after? Obviously, considering you have your pre-game article that you're working on during the week, and that gets released the night or the day before. Tell us what you're doing once that has hit the newsletters and you are off and ready for kickoff and post-game.
I listen to a lot of pregame talk to go into the injury wire, see what's actually going on, look into videos, listen to a lot of reporters and see inside guys and see what's actually going on. Also, the biggest source is the players themselves. They do tweet a lot, so I also look into what they're tweeting. But I also go back into rereading my article, Pick Six Keys to Success, and I also compare that to other analysts, especially national analysts, and it just be surprisingly it's get close to the same, but not more in depth. It's like they get to like a little general answer to pretty much what I see as well, but you know I also try like to catch videos of the warm ups. If I can see how guys warming up, that tells a lot about how they want to play. But other than that, is more of looking at other teams. Especially teams in our division, seeing how they play. Um, Also looking at teams in our conference. Look at how they're playing, what they have going on. Do they have players injured and whatnot? See what's really going on in the AFC, and just keeping up with all the football talk and whatnot, and seeing what actually analysts really say, because some guys do just talk off the side of their neck and like, come on now, I've been in a situation before, Rex Ryan. Let's have some common sense for a minute right here. Let's not just look for purposeful content to try to go viral and whatnot. Let's have some common sense. But I also just trying to see what guys who getting paid more money than me see what they say, and and go from there. And you know maybe I tweet Patrick Mahomes. I doubt he'll see it. And it's hey, stay safe out there. They coming for you. So it's just just a little watching around the league and see what's going on. So on game day, I have my Lucky Chief shirt. It's a gray shirt, Kansas City Chief shirt. But with me being a truck driver, I normally leave on Sunday, and so I normally be watching the game as I be traveling and everything. And so it all depends on what time of the game. If it's a noon game, I normally be in my truck, watching it. I'm screaming. I'm glad I'm by myself, but I'm into it. I'm screaming. I'm into it. Primetime games, I'm normally parked at that time, and you know wherever I be at, I make sure people hear me, especially when we score. I'm going to make it clear, yes, you hear me, and make it loud and proud. So as food wise, I normally do a bunch of meal prepping. I love baked chicken with rice and bell pepper and onion. Try to be healthy. I can see the shoulders, but it's more of meal prepping and everything. And also, if I do have that time that I'm not traveling, I tend to like go to more of the wing spectrum. Buffalo Wild Wings, or if I'm feeling really feeling myself, I make my own wings. And I make a lot of them. I make a good 50 wings. Sharing is a coin flip. It's a coin flip, and I just hope no one asks. But it's normally a coin flip on that. But a lot of times I call my family back home and we FaceTime sometimes during the game. But my ritual is I normally I don't take no texting or phone calls during the game. Phone on D&D. Leave me be while the Chiefs are playing. Everyone knows the ritual. Leave me be while the Chiefs are playing. We don't do no commercial talk. Now I do sometimes in primetime games during halftime. My grandfather calls me because it's a bit different since my father passed away. We normally watch the game together, so we sometimes talk during halftime, during primetime games, Sunday night football particularly, to see what's going on. I always tell him the same thing, and so I text Andy Reid what's going on. We see if he got my message or not. 9 times out of 10 it's a no, or 10 times out of 10 it's a no. But it's always a good laugh with them, and we go from there and see what adjustment was going on, and we talk about what we see. And then it's just going back to watching the game. A lot of times I like to watch the game by myself because a lot of people can't take my cheering. A lot of people can't take what I do. It's more peaceful that way, more civil in that manner. But yeah, I put my phone on D and just it's just me and the Chiefs. If I had a direct connection to Andy Reid, I would risk that. So it's just yeah, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, but sometimes you'll talk in our Slack chat, maybe you're hyped
Oh,
up
most
about
definitely.
something Xavier Worthy did, or you're upset about how the defense is playing, or Patrick, how could you be dumb on that interception? I mean, you'll speak up when you feel like you got something to say. So you won't go completely cold turkey, no response. But yeah, most of the time you start going on that island of yours.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You can definitely relate. So what is the one thing that got you like hooked on
Ooh, the one thing that got me hooked on the Chiefs is watching. Um, it's funny watching watching Marty Schottenheimer talk because my father always made fun of him. Watching Marty talk, and especially after a loss, and he always say the same thing over and over. And he always say, "Oh, we played poorly," and like that's the whole coach speak of not saying anything but only saying a little was really entertaining to me. Watching the press conference and was seeing, and just guessing, are they really telling the truth? Because what I saw was something different. And it's just really spending, good time with my father and everything, talking about what we saw. And also, that was around the time that my grandmother used to work at the stadium. So always knowing that we want to have something. She always bring us something, and it was always good. But really, what really got me truly hooked on watching Chiefs is watching the intensity between the Chiefs and the Raiders. It was I really felt that hatred, and it was like, look here now, we ain't gonna have this nonsense, and it was real. It was real. And so that's really brought me to it. It's like Chiefs beat the Raiders. I'm going nuts. I'm going nuts because I understood and really felt and saw the real rivalry between the Chiefs and Raiders, and actually, you know, watch these guys literally just fight out there on the field. I was like, wait a minute, it was really intense, and that's what really drew me into being a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I love it. Schottenheimer, a legend here. Tragic what's happened to him. He doesn't get the respect in his legacy. Only gets looked at for the losses in the postseason. And, that was Andy Reid's knock for a while. But being in the right environment and having the right players around a coach, you can see the, ascension in their career if they can have those pieces. And, it's a shame that Marty couldn't get all those things together. We almost got there. But, a win for Kansas City is a win for every Kansas City coach that's ever came before and after.
He was a building block to what we have now. So
yeah, he was the coach that everyone was compared to for a while here in terms of, can we at least have that amount of success? So who do you think of most in your life when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think a lot about my father, even though he's a Packers fan, but it's the fact that, we watched a lot of Chiefs, football together. He taught me a lot about football, just watching Chiefs. Taught me about, the whole chemistry of friendship when he talked about, the offensive line, especially when I remember asking him when I was a kid, it's like, why do those big guys always, sit together? They move together. They always together. And you say, oh, well, that's your offensive line. That is a one whole unit. Their chemistry together has to be, top tier, and learning about what real friendship and, what, real character really is, talking about Chiefs football, and he using Chiefs football as an example on, how you're supposed to carry yourself as a man and everything. So, my father had he used the Chiefs football a lot as, 2 points for me growing up. So I will forever have that a part of me.
Yep, those are precious memories that we cherish and hold on to, and it's really, really great that you have those special moments and get to be able to share those moments with other people, and including our audience, in terms of your articles and the other things that you post and put out there with us. It's ingrained in us to kind of see something, experience something, and want to share it with somebody else. So I'm glad that that's stood out to you. If you could bring back a past Chiefs player, who would you choose? And is he, in fact, your all-time favorite Chief?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I'm sorry, Kareem Hunt, but I would have to say it would be nice to have a prime Paris Holmes right about now. That would be very lovely, especially with this offensive line. A prime Paris Holmes. Also, Derek Thomas. I would love to have Derek Thomas next to Chris Jones and George, with Mike Dana and Felix and that whole defensive line, just being under Joe Collins. That would be brutal. That would be brutal. But my all-time favorite Chiefs player, believe it or not, is Brian Waters. I love that offensive line, Will Shields, Grunny, and that whole cohesiveness. I loved how they moved, and it was fascinating. I loved it. So I say, Brian Waters is my all-time favorite player.
I love it. That's a Rod answer right there. To go with an offensive lineman after his offensive lineman conversation. He's very consistent. You have to give him that. We pay attention to the things that aren't the flashiest. If I was going to quote a person who sits behind us in our section in Arrowhead, it's all about Kelsey, or it's like Kelsey's got to do everything, or why isn't Mahomes only throwing it to Kelsey? Like there's other parts of the game that maybe you aren't paying as much attention to because the flashy thing is over here.
Yeah.
I bet Rod will agree that a lot of times in football, the thing that's important is the thing that they're trying to distract you away from.
Yeah.
Because everything a lot of the times is a decoy or a fake decoy. So in football, there are 22 different players on the field at one time that you could pay attention to and examine them very clearly and give them, a passing or failing grade on things every single time. So it takes that extra dedication to look into those extra details and figure out the players who are, all pro, or some that are just a little bit short of that. So, that's what we do around here. We give you every perspective. We give you the up close and personal, up through the technical and intricate details. We got all of that covered. So if Brian Waters is your all-time favorite Chief, who is your current day?
It is very tough because I like the combination of Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. I love them dearly. I know a lot of people obviously would probably be Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, but or Chris Jones. But right now I am a big fan of Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie, he proved a whole lot to me. To be able to do something that not many DBs can do, to be a first-team All-Pro and still don't have an interception. We're going on year 3. So that proves that hard work and dedication will get you seen, regardless of the flashy plays. Hard work and dedication is going to get you seen. And I like his work ethic. He does not take limitation to heart. He doesn't take he's not the typical prima donna of DBs that you normally see, and he just comes in and go to work and just ball out. So I'm a huge fan of Trent McDuffie, and that's 22 is my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie is a very popular pick here at Red Kingdom Media, but it's a good pick to have. He doesn't have that prototypical size, and I think that's why people thought, maybe he wasn't going to live up to his draft stock, or those question marks about him, but he's performed very well and has been at all pro level. And what he got to do against Jamar Chase maybe will solidify that. If he can keep doing that against the number one wide receivers, I think Brett Veach may break the bank for him. And considering his size and his stature, 5 years ago we would have said that's crazy. Why would we ever consider that? But if you're a talented player, the Chiefs will reward you if you're making an impact on this team. So I'm ready to see what the next 5-10 years of McDuffie's career looks like, and if he continues on that upward trajectory. So our last question that we have for our Rod's retelling: how did you overcome staying true to the Chiefs Kingdom during those down years where maybe there wasn't that much to cheer for and optimism was lack thereof?
Ooh, it was tough, but it was more of just try to keep having faith, because not everybody can win. At that time, going to the Chiefs game was very cheap. It was very cheap, so going there, able to actually go to the game and actually watch them, it was an experience. Even though it wasn't a good enough team back then. It sucked badly just to see on across the screen and say, oh, due to the low ticket sales, they can't show the game on TV. I'm like, wow, that sucks. So, but it was more faith. Like, eventually, it's going to get better. That's what's going to have to change. At some point, it's going to have to change, and just sticking with it. Because I'm like I said, being a big football fan, I just stuck with it, and you start to slowly see promise, and you start to slowly see potential. And after making coaching changes and front office changes, then you really start to see things take off. To now the pendulum switches over to success, and that's where things are like, we waited 50 years just to see his Super Bowl, and it was sweet. It was absolutely sweet.
Well, Rod, we're glad that you held on during those down times and stay true, because how sweet it is, because we are on the top of the mountain celebrating. And who would have thought 10 years ago, when you and I are just trying to reach out to some sports media affiliates or Chiefs podcasts or local radio stations, that 10 years later we'd be doing it ourselves, and the Chiefs are a relevant enough team that they are the best team in all the NFL, and we're not the only competition around here, and everyone is excited and wants to do their own thing related to the Chiefs, because it is the most topical thing. And 10 years ago, it was not like that, but we were dedicated then, and we stay dedicated now. So, Rod, I just want to say thank you for opening up and letting us hear all about your history.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Also being a part of Red Kingdom Media and contributing with us going forward.
Yeah, I just appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So before we move on, I would like to ask you all to please like and subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. If you would like to hear our podcast, we're on Spotify. If you're listening to us on our audio podcast, thank you. Most of the action that we have is on our YouTube channel, where you can like and subscribe on there. We have tons of podcasts and video series as well that you can partake in. We also have the show that we're on right now called The Home of the Chiefs, and we are looking for future guests to be on this show for the end of this season and next season. So if you are a person who is listening to this and thinking to themselves, I'd like to be in Rod's seat right now, getting to answer all the questions and be a part of Red Kingdom Media in some capacity, I would like to be on there. How would I do that? Well, I would hit the link up in the description and you fill out that form and we'll get back to you about scheduling a future podcast episode where you get to be the guest host. So if that's interest to you, please hit the link up in the description. Not only do we have that, we have a Substack. And you've already heard us talk about it. We have a paid subscription for $5 a month, which if you subscribe, that gets you access to Mr. Rodney's Pick 6 article series. And it also gives you access to Daily Dale's Extra Point post-game series. So if you would like 2 articles in your inbox during the week, go ahead and hit up that link and subscribe to our paid Substack membership. And if you don't want to pay right now, that's cool. We also have a free Substack membership that gives you access to our daily updates that comes out Monday through Friday straight to your inbox. That gives you all the juicy details of what happened the night before when maybe you weren't paying attention or early next morning. So if that interests you, then go ahead and subscribe to our Substacks. And last but not least, we have shirts. Guys, we have shirts. They're nice. They're comfortable. You've seen us wear them before. They're on screen right now. You can hit Dale or myself up in the description, and we can start an order for those shirts straight to you, shipped straight to you, or and delivered straight to you. Like I said, when these shirts came out, they are local. So everything is done with people connected to or around Kansas City. So if you want a shirt, we'll get you a shirt. We are working on some future merch to give you some more options in terms of the styles and the designs of that merch. But first, we got to prove that there is a demand for this merch. So you guys got to hit those links up and start messaging us so we can get some shirt orders sent out. Thank you all for listening to me paying the bill. So let's move on to our second topic, which has to do with the Bengals game that just completed, where the Chiefs escaped Arrowhead, going 26-25, making them 2-0 on the season. What do you make of the game itself, and who were your offensive and defensive MVPs?
I look at this game as coach tape. That's what I would title as. From the first quarter all the way to the end in the fourth quarter is coaching. Everything. It wasn't a perfect game by anyone. You could pick any group throughout the game. It wasn't perfect. You could tell it was most likely it was very rusty. I think, and you can tell by everyone, from the coaches to players, everyone. You can tell there's something different that they was trying, and you could just chalk that game up as rusty. And you could tell this is a long game. They playing the long game. They're playing the long chess game and going from there. If I have to choose my offensive and defensive MVPs, Defensively, I go to Trent McDuffie. I know a lot of people talked about, why they can't cover the tight ends. They can't cover the tight ends. At least you're not getting beat by the wide receivers. That's right there is a bigger deal. I will let the collective of 3 tight ends go for 10 or so catches for 130 yards. That's a collective of 3 guys. I let that happen. You can't let Jamar Chase go for 15 for 220. That's when you know the game is over. So you at this point you have to do a give and take. And everything is not going to be perfect. It's just a give and take. The game is evolving. So Trent McDuffie for me, stepping up and taking on a bigger receiver, and not just a bigger receiver, but the number 1 receiver, and collectively with the other guys, Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams doing really good. But you could tell there's some rust that needs to come off by like I said, by every group. Offensively, I would say Rashid Rice. Rashid Rice is really stepping up and really taking on the responsibility of his off-field training. Is really showing his head. Is really showing, he made a mistake and he's really showing that I'm 100% focused. He's showing his next step up. He's proving that my rookie year, half of that my rookie year was real shaky. I was trying to get used to everything, but once I got a hang of everything, it was all system go. Now that I have a hang of everything, I know what it feels like and what it takes like to have success. Now I have to capitalize on this. I have to capitalize on it. I made a bonehead mistake. Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to be a professional, and this is the outcome what happens when you become a professional.
Rodney, I agree with you. I thought everyone was really just kind of rusty, and I feel like we didn't really gel together as well as we could have. I think the Bengals had a little bit of a hold on us. Like, I feel like we were a little bit like scared of them, but at the end we came out and we were like, oh yeah, we're dominating you guys. We're gonna do it, and it doesn't matter what it takes. We're gonna beat you, and that's what it took. And I feel like halftime they really got a talking to, and they were just like, okay, yeah, let's get into it. Let's just go and see what happens. And I feel like the offense did okay. They didn't do great. Pacheco was really the only one that stood out to me. And he put his body on the line for this game. Like, he is hurt, and we're just like, oh gosh, what are we going to do without him? But he really just stuck. He put it all out there for us. So he's really my offensive MVP, and then my defensive MVP. And that was really my offensive MVP, and my defensive MVP, I think I want to go with McDuffie, just because he's McDuffie. He's so good, and you can really just watch him work, and he's just so methodical, and he knows what he's doing. He really just goes for it every single time.
For me, it came down to this is a standard Bengals-Chiefs game where both sides are not happy about how their team performed, thinks they could have done better, made some mistakes that they felt was too costly, and still believed, whether they won or lost, that their team was the better team and would definitely win the matchup the next time around. So the Chiefs, they had 3 turnovers, and I said it numerous times. That's way too many, and in any case should instantly seal a defeat on your record. However, the Chiefs were able to sneak their way around, and Butker, being the special teams MVP, obviously, kicked the game winner to make sure the Chiefs win. But these Bengals matchups are always tough. They're always within a field goal. It's always within the last possession of the game. The Chiefs and Bengals, they're bitter rivals. They got to admit it. They respect the players they're going against, but they're never going to compliment them or make them better to be what they are. They won't discount them or, downplay their abilities. They'll only, heighten them, but they're not going to proclaim they are the best or that they personally are worse off than somebody else. So overall, I'm glad that the Chiefs were able to pull this out. The Bengals are known to have slow starts at the beginning of their season. But it's clear the second they saw the Chiefs on their schedule, they woke right up. And the Bengals are now 0-2 on their season, so they have some uphill battles to deal with. But the Chiefs came out 2-0, and they are ready to continue their warpath. These were arguably two of the toughest games on our schedule, and they were all at the very beginning of the season. So I'm very glad that the Chiefs are able to come out 2-0 in this portion and that we were able to beat Joe Burrow in this instance. In terms of my offensive and defensive MVPs, I think in terms of offense, you guys have already stated, obviously, the two main storylines out of there. You had a lot to dislike in terms of some stuff you've seen. I'm going to throw Xavier Worthy in there just because I still think he's doing a darn good job of being a decoy at times, being the speed threat and allowing another player to excel. We saw that touchdown pass to Rashee Rice, and, it was clear that the corner that was playing him, maybe was scared that was Xavier Worthy and thought he had to have a little bit more space, but it was Rashee Rice, and you realize, oh, he's just as fast.
Yeah.
Not as fast, obviously, but game speed, he's right in there.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs have a dominant duo of wide receiver threats, and with Hollywood Brown going down for, if not the entire season, including the postseason or just the regular season, the Chiefs need several receiving threats. And with Rashee getting most of the attention, it's only a matter of time before defenses start re-queuing on Rashee Rice. So therefore, Xavier Worthy can start having more of the benefits of his route running and what his speed and acceleration can really do on a football field. And in terms of my defensive MVP, none of you guys brought it up. It's got to be Chamari Connor. I made him off limits for the post game because it was too obvious, but I got to shout him out here. He got the fumble recovery for a touchdown. He got a big sack. He definitely did not look out of place for much of the game. For being a young secondary, Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt have done a tremendous job with all the secondary the Chiefs have, letting L'Jarius Sneed walk and trading him away to Tennessee and not giving him the big payday that he wanted from here. We've talked about Trent McDuffie maybe breaking that mold and getting that contract, but the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo are very good at being able to find talent in any part of the draft or free agency and plug and play the players that they believe can fit the scheme and run the system that's designed. And they don't try to be stars or try to do something flashy. They just do their job. And every week we can be a little nervous about, they're the opposing team's wide receiver core and our secondary and think it doesn't match up on paper. But then when we get on the football field and actually play the game, our secondary does a tremendous job of staying on top of things and not looking out of place and not getting their name called. And much of the time, especially on offensive line, that's how you want to be. You just want to be as inconspicuous as possible. Fade in, just look like one of the pawns on the chessboard, and just do your job. And this defense and the secondary have done a really good job so far these first 2 weeks. And we're moving on to our final topic, which has to do with the Atlanta Falcons and the fact that the Falcons host the Kansas City Chiefs here Sunday night. They are 1-1, and they had that very sneaky victory over the Philadelphia Eagles here just yesterday as we're recording, Monday Night Football. So you would have maybe thought the Falcons are 0-2 going into this game, but they get that sneaky win from the Eagles. So maybe that kind of takes away this trap game conversation and the question, but I'll still phrase it the same way. What are your expectations for this Falcons matchup? And do you believe that this is a potential trap game?
So it's like the same thing I told Seren Petro earlier today. Tony Romo mentioned something in second quarter, I believe about 2 or 3 minutes left of the game. He said that the Eagles and the Falcons are the two least blitzing defenses in the NFL. They do not blitz whatsoever. And so to answer the question, I don't think this is a trap game. I think this is a bounce back game. I think the Chiefs will treat this as if they lost against the Cincinnati Bengals. I know plenty of the players felt like they lost, even though it's a win on the record books. But to them, they lost, especially listening to what Kingsley Suamataia said in his locker room press conference. He was really harsh on himself. He felt like he lost that game. And so I really see this being a really bounce back game. I really see them taking the rust off of this game. Also, if we're looking at, what we have on table, I will tell fans to look at how they played. Look at how the Falcons played against the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1. That is an elite defense against a mediocre offense, and they only mustered up a few field goals. You're going up against an elite defense with an elite offense. Everyone is comparing the Falcons as if they on the same level as the Eagles. The Eagles are on a down slump. I hear a lot of fans also trying to compare the Eagles as if they are the Chiefs. No, they're not. That defense is nowhere near the same level as the Chiefs defense. Also, Kirk Cousins did not face a single blitz. Curtis Sebo also pointed out that the Falcons only got 1 sack on Jalen Hurts the whole entire game. Only 1 sack, and that came from the interior. Not from 1 sack and 5 pressures, all came from the interior. You're not pressuring Patrick Mahomes without interior. So I don't. Everyone mentioned Matthew Judon. I don't see him being a factor against Kingsley. I think Kingsley going to take this opportunity to bounce back and really show dominance. I think he has to learn to trust Joe Tooney. He's an All-Pro left guard for a reason, and he's going to learn. He got his welcome to the NFL, same as Carson Steele. You a rookie, welcome to the NFL. It's just not college no more. These guys are fast. These are elite players that's in this game right now. So you take this coaching point. I think they go into practice this week extremely heavy and extremely focused. And now you can sit here and really play Chiefs football. I look at the injury to Isaiah Pacheco. There's a little sneak peek in my article that I'm gonna put. I'm gonna give a little nugget here. This is going to force Andy Reid to be aggressive. This is 2 weeks he been playing really conservative. I felt like he played conservative against Cincinnati. He has no choice but to be aggressive. He has no choice but to put the ball in Mahomes' hands. He ran the ball a lot more than I thought he would against Cincinnati. Now, even though we signed Kareem Hunt, he's on the practice squad. He still has to learn the playbook. So now you're talking about Deneric Prince, Samaje Perine, and Carson Steele as running back 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, you're not running the ball that much. You have to put the ball in your moneymaker's hand. And now this will force the rust to come off on Patrick Mahomes. I see Patrick Mahomes having a big game and really exposing his defense. And the fact that the Falcons defense don't blitz, that's the worst thing to do. So that means you're rushing forward. If you don't get any pressure with the 4, Mahomes is going to stand there and pick you apart. So I see the Chiefs making a big comeback in this game, really showing their real colors. But I also see the defense going after more of a statue of Kirk Cousins. He do not run. No, he run less than Joe Burrow, and we know Joe Burrow is son Tommy about running, and Kirk Cousins will not run. He will not run the ball. So now you talk about after dealing with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and Mike Dana and those guys. Also, like we said, your defensive MVP, Clinton, Jamari Connor, coming off that safety blitz. I understand what you have with Kyle Pitts, but nah. You dealing with a different defensive coordinator, and you're going to see why they are back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
True. I think they're just going to they have a fire lit under their butt this time because they almost lost the last game. So I think they're going to come out on fire, and they're going to take this game seriously because they know definitely just won their game, and they're going to be on top of it, and they're going to try and stop us. So they know that already. So I think that's going to really motivate them to be on top.
For me, I don't know if I'm ready for a complete offensive shootout. I think our defense is not going to allow that, but I think Atlanta has something to prove. If they had just come off a loss, I'd say this is definitely a trap game potential. But since the Falcons have some fire of their own, they're coming off that emotional roller coaster of Monday night to now playing an AFC opponent where losing to us doesn't matter as much. So I think that Atlanta is set up to kind of take a beating from us, so to say. I'm not trying to sell them short, but I feel like the Chiefs need to realize how lucky they've been the last 2 weeks in terms of the narrow margin escaping Arrowhead with those wins. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like the Chiefs take games more seriously outside of Arrowhead. Sure. Because whether it's more of an effort to win or because Arrowhead is known for being loud, everywhere else just doesn't compare. I don't know the reasons, but I almost feel like the Chiefs come more prepared for away games, and they're not as rattled by it. And most of the time, if they drop a game, it's here in Kansas City or somewhere, maybe Midwest area, like a Colts game a few years back, for instance. So this team is capable of falling in a trap. I just don't believe that they believe that this Falcons team in this Week 3 matchup is a trap. I feel like there's a lot of storylines going on, and like Rod mentioned, Kirk is playing for his life right now. If he wants to be known as something other than kind of the negative connotations that have been placed on him, this is the type of game that the Falcons need to show up for. Mm-hmm. So if the Chiefs believe that their opponent's going to show up for this game, then it's my belief that they also are going to come out ready for this game and come out with that fire, have focus, play as a team, and realize that you're now Sunday Night Football, you're the only game on, all the spotlight's on you like always, and be able to escape Atlanta 3-0. And leading up to and after the game, we will be with you to break down anything and everything Chiefs related. Rod, I just want to thank you once again for stopping on the pod.
Yes, thank you.
Letting people know what's going on in your life and how to find your written work and be able to appreciate and celebrate the Chiefs Kingdom, and specifically being a part of Red Kingdom Media. So, and thank all of you who are watching or listening to us right now. We appreciate you being a part of our crew as well. Make sure to hit any of those links up in the description. Apply to join and be on our podcast. Subscribe to our Substack so you can read Rod's articles and pick up a shirt, if you will. All that would make a big difference for a small local business.
Yep.
So appreciate you all for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And as always, go
Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.